Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Welcome along to my walk through the beautiful surroundings of Suffolk. If it's your first time here, welcome along. Great to have you here. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. Also, equally, if not more so, wonderful to have you here. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining me on my walk and talk this morning. So, if you haven't been here before, brief background. I started this channel a few months ago to talk about my thoughts and opinions on everything that's happening in the world, how I believe it all links together, who the players in the game are, and how it all links together, and hopefully it makes sense. It is a series, so if you're unsure about why I'm talking about a particular subject on a particular day, it might help if you go back and have a look at the other videos, and you'll see that there are some links in between each of the topics I'm talking about, and that has brought us to today. So today's topic of conversation, I'll give you three words: energy, frequency, and vibration. Now, if that doesn't give away what the topic of the conversation is today, then you might be surprised by some of the information that I'm going to be presenting. So today's topic of conversation is a gentleman by the name of Nicola Tesla. Now, a lot of people outside of electrical engineering circles, which I am not, by the way, I hope you know, a lot of people outside of electrical engineering circles may have heard the name, but not, sorry, I'm walking through a bit of a muddy patch here, but not understand the significance of who this man was and what he contributed to the world. We've heard about famous inventors of his time, like Edison, Westinghouse, those kind of names, who fundamentally changed the landscape of the world that we live in. But Nikola Tesla's name, I mean, the man himself is like a riddle wrapped in a mystery inside an enigma, and there's so little known about many aspects of his life, his experiments, his understanding of the nature of the universe, and his death ultimately. Where he died, how he died, and what happened after his death. And we're going to focus on. I'm not going to try and explain the nature of what he was trying to do and what he did, because it's well beyond A, my comprehension, and B, my ability to explain it. So. To save doing it an injustice and try and explain, I will try and explain to the best of my knowledge some things that you should probably look at. And also, some of the things that we're going to be talking about, I'm going to link in the description box down below, or not in the description box, but in the comment section. I'll have a pinned comment there that will have links to documentation recently released from Tesla's life, his experiments, and some of the things he was working on that I think is relevant to today, and why. So, if you saw my other video, The Future Is Now, and it's very bright, you will have seen the US Navy release technology recently for 3 patents that were to do with free energy generation, 0-point energy, room temperature semiconductor, and a anti-gravity flying machine. Sounds preposterous. Go and have a look, and the links are in the comment section of that video as well. It has been brought to my attention that the room temperature superconductor patent is now being left. There is a new one. I'm searching for that. I will have that uploaded. I will put that in the pinned comment section as soon as I can re-find that. But know that if that patent has been abandoned, that another one supersedes it. So that's the one I'm looking for. I shall find it. It just takes some time. It's a lot of digging, and obviously with everything going on, it's there's a lot of information I'm trying to find at the moment. So today we're talking about Nicola Tesla. Now, Nicola Tesla was a Serbian-born American. He immigrated to America. He worked with Edison while Edison was developing and installing electricity throughout America. Now we've heard Edison's name because his name is in history, but because all the things that he invented, that fundamentally the telephone and electricity, but Edison was working on something called direct current, whereas Nicola Tesla was more interested in something called alternating current, AC. You've heard AC and DC, or AC/DC if you know the band. Ultimately, Tesla's technology, Tesla's revolutionary ideas of the engines that he created are far superior to anything that was done by anybody else. There's also a famous quote that someone asked Albert Einstein, what's it like to be the smartest man in the world? And he said, well, I don't know, you'd have to ask Nikola Tesla. Now, he's the words unrecognized genius of his time. He was so far ahead of his time that his ideas seemed, to the people at the time, preposterous. I mean, they were so outlandish and so over the top that trying to explain, much like Einstein and other people that were so far out of their thinking of the times, didn't get the recognition that he deserved. Now, as I say, if you're an electrical engineer, I'm sure that you would have a deeper understanding of the subject, what he achieved. But most people outside of electrical engineering have no idea. And myself, I took an interest, started reading, and to be honest, a lot of what I saw, I went completely over my head. As I read research papers, I then have to have a dictionary and a thesaurus beside me to go through and understand the words that are being used. And if you saw one of my other talks a couple of talks ago about words, then you'd understand my frustration at the wording, and obviously all the mathematics as well. And it's very complex, very technical, but the implications of what he's done, what he found, reverberates throughout history, and it will fundamentally change the way that we live. Okay, so first we look at electricity. Now, electricity back in the time when Tesla was around with Edison, Westinghouse, and those kind of guys that were sort of really bringing electricity to the world. Tesla's research was being funded by JP Morgan, amongst others, wealthy business people at the time, and what he was trying to achieve required vast sums of money. But when it was revealed that he could transmit electricity to anywhere, to anyone for free without being metered, and without going through copper wiring, which was Edison's viewpoint of how things should go, and the investors in Tesla's experiments were heavily invested in things like copper as well, you can understand why the funding was cut. Now, this is speculation, of course, but we've seen that the world works on money, and if something as revolutionary as free electricity that could be transmitted through the air was to be released, there would be a lot of people that are invested in other technologies that would not benefit from that. So unfortunately, money plays a massive part in how our world operates, what technology we have, and how it's implemented, and who's implementing it, and who's allowed to is the key here, to bring out technologies that are going to change the world. Now, in addition to electricity, as I said, the first three words, energy, vibration, frequency, Tesla was famous for saying if you understand those three things, then you understand the nature of the universe. Now, in the 50s, I believe, there was a scientist who invented a machine that he found that cancer cells, especially within the human body, were susceptible to a frequency vibration. To try and explain it as best I can, frequency responded to frequency, so that they couldn't stand a certain frequency that was blasted at them through this machine that he built, and they were destroyed. So if we go to I'm trying to think how best I can word this. If we think about energy, okay, everything at its core, everything that we understand is energy. You go to the atomic level, it's energy. So it, depending on the frequency, the vibration of that energy, if you like, is dependent if we view that thing as like a solid object, like a tree, or a table, or a chair, or a car. That's down to the energy and the frequency, the vibration of that particular atomic material. Okay, like I say, it's kind of complex, and trying to word it in such a way that is really simple to understand is, it's almost impossible, and especially for someone who doesn't fully understand it. So, if you are an electrical engineer, I'm happy to take feedback, and I'm happy to listen to some sort of better explanation of how I can put this information. So please feel free to comment. So the implications of what he's done and what he tried to do with his experiments is not just about one thing, it's about everything. About how we produce our electricity, to curing diseases. Okay, now when Tesla was alive, he was doing experiments. He had a laboratory in Wardenclyffe, where he had a massive Tesla tower. He created a Tesla coil, 600 feet high, I think, something like that. And that's since been taken down, but there has been a rather large Tesla tower, a Tesla coil, erected in Texas in America, and there are some other places as well where they're showing up, which is kind of strange. But the technology and the concept behind Tesla's experiments was largely disappeared from the public eye following his death. Now, as I say, he was the very mysterious man, very closely guarded. He talked about inventions where, like the death ray that was around at the time, you could zap planes out of the sky, which of course has military applications. And there was also many other things, patents and things that he worked on. Now, upon his death, he died, so we're told, alone and penniless in the New Yorker Hotel in New York. And after following his death, well, that's a bit strange anyway, so we'll come back to that in just a minute. Following his death, his room was cleared out, and that technology was taken away. That all of his notes and all of his experimental data was taken away. Now, I'll touch on the New Yorker. So this is a man who we're told died alone and penniless in one of the finest hotels in New York. Okay. It's rumoured that he had a lab in the hotel. The basement of the hotel had its own electricity source that was enough to run the hotel 10 times over. And curiously enough, the hotel was possibly going by the blueprints and the schematics of the building, the largest Tesla coil ever created, which is kind of weird. Now, upon his death, when he passed, there was a man that was tasked with going through all the papers, all the trunks. He had 90 cases, I think it was, 90 trunks of paperwork and experimental data. There was a man who was tasked with going through all that data, an MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology professor, a man by the name of John Trump. Okay, now, John Trump was Donald Trump, the United States president, his uncle. Okay, now, from everything that I've read and I've seen, very well respected man, very knowledgeable. From my understanding also that he had links to Tesla prior to that, so he'd worked with him prior, from my understanding. And he was able to analyse the data, and he told the US government that there was nothing of merit in the data. So what makes that curious to me is that Donald Trump was President of the United States. Under Donald Trump's rule, a lot of Tesla documentation was released by the FBI. He declassified that information. It was released, which is what I'm going to post in the comment section under a pinned comment. And we also had the US Navy release patents of free energy generation technology. Curious? I think so. Definitely worth making a video about. In addition to that, there has been rumour and speculation about something called Medbeds. Now, these Medbeds are supposed to use frequency, vibration, energy to find faults in your body, let's put it that way. Something that isn't, the Chinese ancient traditions about qi, which is the energy source that runs around your body, and when you have a blockage in your qi, that can be corrected using acupuncture. So your body works on energy, the same as anything, and if those energy points are blocked, we have a manifestation of disease and illness. So your body is ill at ease and isn't functioning at its optimum because the energy flow of your body has been interrupted. So when you start talking about things like Medbeds, which is based on, from my understanding, Tesla energy frequency vibration experiments, then things start to be a bit more clear. Sorry, I'm just zipping around the path here. It's very wet here today, rained all night. There's, like I said, the applications of this technology are broad, varied, and have the opportunity to change fundamentally how we live, how we operate, not only on this planet but possibly on others. So the application of these Medbeds, now, like I say, it is rumour, speculation. There is a company that's out there that has what they call a Tesla bed that you can go and trial. I haven't done it yet, I will. And that's supposed to be beneficial for you as you sleep. I don't think that's the technology that we're actually talking about. I think that maybe has a positive effect, possibly. But like I say, I can't report back on that until I've tried it. But there's a movie called Elysium. I don't know whether you've seen it, where they have an off-world base, if you like, in orbit that has technologies where a medbed technology where it examines your DNA and can correct your DNA with energy, frequency, and vibration. Your DNA specific to you. So sounds pretty amazing. But what are we seeing now is we're seeing an immunization that changes your DNA, not specific to you, but just changes your DNA. Now, we are all fundamentally different in how we operate, our DNA, and trying to have a one-size-fits-all for everything is not only scary, but also fundamentally goes against any kind of scientific process that we know about. And as I've said before, with science, I've had many people argue with me about science because it's just because I don't understand it. You can't have a one-size-fits-all approach to everything. It doesn't work. What might work for one person will kill another. As evidenced by aspirin. We all know it to be safe and effective, but there are people that die from taking aspirin. So back to Tesla. Now, widely regarded as a genius. The company Tesla, the car company that created the cars, was invented by two electrical engineers that recognized Tesla's genius, let's put it that way, and wanted to use that in technology to take us away from our oil-based systems and economy. And they succeeded. Morning, how are we doing? And but it's not without its pitfalls and its drawbacks, of course, because there's been some very, very powerful people trying to control Tesla's vehicle manufacture from the very beginning. And some would say very successfully at the beginning. But then we saw something change drastically with Tesla, that it had massive government funding. And even now that the Biden administration's in, and they've committed to using 100% of electric vehicles for all government vehicles. Why the sudden turnaround? Why, after the world's been reliant on oil forever and a day, why was this technology from the US Navy released when it was? Why is this Tesla technology released when it was? Why isn't it mainstream? There is, as I've said in my videos prior, there is an information war that's going on right now. And when you have a small group of multinational companies that control the flow of information, data, and the people who are the policymakers within governments, then you can manipulate the world to have a belief system in something that doesn't benefit us. Let's put it that way. Now, do I think there's any correlation to Nicola Tesla and the technology and Donald Trump? Of course I do. Through John Trump, obviously. And I think there's many reasons why the technology has been released now, because I believe that we are heading to an economy and a world where this technology will be implemented across the world to benefit us all. I believe that with every ounce of my being. I believe that. I have seen, as I say, I've seen patents. I've read patents. I've seen medical research, read medical research that shows strong. How can I put this? That shows that the technology can benefit us. Now, also in addition to that, I mean, there's been many scientists that have tried to create and recreate Tesla's experiments to show that they work and to show that it's not all hooey, as some people would put it. There was one gentleman in Canada, I think his name was John Hutchison, that had his own lab that he built at home from just discarded electrical equipment. And he produced these experiments only to have his lab shut down by the authorities because he was posting his results on YouTube. And you can go and see it. There's plenty of videos of John Hutchison making bowling balls levitate. Seemingly impossible, but using energy, frequency, and vibration to do so. So I've said in my videos before as well. There was the other one where I was talking about the US Navy's patents. If you can have a guy in his shed, in his back shed, recreating Tesla's experiments with a limited budget from old discarded electrical equipment, do you think that the largest budgets for the military applications in the world, not just in America but around the world, do you think that technology hasn't moved forward? Why don't we know about it? What we've seen, as I've said in my last talk, what we've seen in this election cycle in the past few years is what's been laid wide open for anybody that's really paying attention, is that the corruption is so widespread and deep within every aspect of our government, within every aspect of science, within every single thing you can possibly think, money, finance, everything has been suppressed. It's and the corruption is laid wide open. It's everywhere. This period that we're going through, this transition period, this very volatile period in our lives, where we see it's all bubbling to the surface, all this corruption, all the deceit, the lies, from every single angle, from politics to finance to money to everywhere, every aspect. By exposing this, it can allow us to release that from ourselves, purge that element of our society so that we can move forward as one. Now, there's a tagline that's out there, where we go one, we go all, which, whether you realise it or not, applies to us all, as the name suggests. I have, as I say, I've invested in technology. That technology is also suppressed. When you have privately owned corporations control the money printing, money supply, and you have a new technology that comes out and breaks that paradigm, democratizes money so that it's not centrally controlled, what happens? Oh, that's right. The governing body that's supposed to protect consumers decides to bring up a lawsuit. Every government department, the banking sector, finance, everything is controlled by a very, very small number of multinational companies. With Tesla, exactly the same. Funding, if you want funding for your research in your laboratory, you have to go to venture capitalists, to banks, who can govern what you can say, what you can do, what you can research. As it was in Tesla's time, as it is now. Nothing has changed. But now the difference is that we are living in a time where we have technology that we can speak openly, like this platform here, until you can't. And as we've seen there with suppression on Twitter, Facebook, fact checkers, and with YouTube, of course, because if you step outside the lines, even though the lines keep on moving, we still have that technology. And while we do, this is why I'm here on YouTube. I could be on other platforms, and I probably will be at some point. But porting over all the information takes time, and obviously with everything I do with this channel, preparing for these videos, it takes a lot of time and a lot of research. Doesn't seem like it because I'm just shooting my mouth off. But we're living in a time where understanding of suppression of information, understanding of new technologies, understanding of medical treatments and cures is coming to light. Some people don't want to look at what's plainly right in front of them because it frightens them, understandably. But we have to move past that fear, because if we're making decisions from a fear base in us, that puts us on a low vibration, a low frequency, and where does that get us? Spiritualism has taught us that we're trying to raise our frequency, we're trying to raise our humanity up into a 5-dimensional reality. But that's based on a frequency. Now, that frequency is governed by our emotional state. Tesla knew this, as has all the teachers throughout history, the spiritual teachers and the teachers. When you talk about alchemy, the Paulo Coelho, when he talks about alchemy, changing a piece of lead into gold, it's it could be done in a very literal sense, but it also that pertains to us each, all of us, where we are the piece of lead, but through knowledge and understanding and taking the time and raising your own personal vibration and those around you with your actions, your words. By raising that vibration and raising that frequency, we can take all of humanity to a place that we've never been before. A place that's going to benefit everyone, that's going to be a fair and equitable society. And I think that's where we all want to go. So it's time to drop the fear paradigm, time to look beyond the fear and the madness and the insanity that is the television and often social media, and look towards a future that can benefit us all with promising technology that is right now being released. And who's releasing it? So keep the love in your heart and keep your vibration high. Share that energy with the people around you. Share this video if you think it does if it helps you. Have a look in the comment section, look at the research, look at the papers that were just released, and decide for yourself which direction and which future you want for yourself and your family. Love you all. Look out for yourself, look out for each other, and look forward to seeing you real soon. Take care. Bye.